Hey everybody, thanks for checking out another episode of the Aaron Advantage podcast. Today I had the privilege of sitting with Joe Notter from Evansville Events. We talked about some of the great things they've had going on in the past, the most recent food truck festival, and be sure to stay tuned for some information on a new upcoming event you might be interested in.
So I just had a sciatic situation going on with my leg.
Oh, yeah.
And
I saw a post about
did you see
that.
the post?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I probably wouldn't have been here. Or if I was here today without seeing Jimmy roll, I literally would probably be standing up right now. Or like kind of like my leg up. Oh, my goodness. And this couch would have been like a no. It's too soft. It's too, I need something firm. And so
we're working on updating the furniture.
No, it's great. Comfy's good.
Yeah.
My issue was I have a ruptured disc, but I also have like a calcium buildup around my sciatic.
Yeah.
And so basically Jimmy is Cherokee Indian descent. And he's got this thing that was passed on from generations, and it's basically a deep tissue massage.
Nice.
And so it goes from the foot up to the hips, the legs, and then the back, the lower back, the upper back. But yeah, like literally 10 hours later, I have like almost no pain. I cannot believe it.
Dude,
I was
incredible.
debilitated. Like I was surprised I made it through the Food Truck Fest. I didn't know, excruciating pain makes it really hard to do work.
Yes, it does.
And so things, I think, struggled a little bit, but we got through it. And so, and if I knew about Jimmy Roll before time, we might have had even a better experience. But hey, I think it was great, right? I
was there. I had a great time. You know what? I thoroughly enjoy being invited out to these events, first and foremost. Like, I was there regardless if I had ever been invited, but to be able to be a judge, it's a double-edged sword. I'm going to be real honest with you, because I love eating all the food, but I feel miserable every time I finish, and it's the best problem in the world to have.
Yeah, no, and I know we overwhelm you guys. I think we had almost 40 food trucks this year.
Yeah,
it was our biggest year.
We ate a lot of different dishes, and split us into teams so we didn't have to eat everything was genius.
Good. And Noah was there to keep everybody accountable, right?
That's right. Yeah, Noah sat right across from me, so he was like, "Hey, everybody, keep it on the up and up." And I was like, "I got you."
He's like, "I'm carrying, guys."
So the biggest year you've ever had for the Food Truck Festival. How many years has that been going on now?
So that's our 5th year. And actually I should have brought this in, but we just finished a piece, and maybe we'll post it on our webpage here today. But basically we had a couple artists that we brought in. I don't know if you saw them towards sort of the field. They were painting. One of them, and they, we give them free reign. We say, right. Look, these guys are professionals. I mean, they're old school, like some of the deep history of Evansville's art. Some of them have been around, the country, the world.
Right.
And so they painted a picture of the festival. And with the stage, with the stadium, dude, and it's our 5th year.
Didn't get a chance to see that. That's awesome.
So we're going to auction it off, and portions are going to go to the charities that we worked with, which were Cancer Pathways Midwest, as well as Indiana Rolling Thunder.
I tell you what,
and then
buddy,
also percentage to the artist too.
That's killer. What I would say is go ahead and make sure you take a photo of the picture, and we can actually impose that here in the podcast, really? So people will be able to see it. Scotty, Perfect. Go ahead and put it like right here for me. So, but yeah, no, that's absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was the 5th year. I've gone to every single one of them, including the first one over at Eastland Mall.
Were you really?
I was really there. I was like, man, I got the VIP tickets so I could get in early, all that stuff. So from day one, I have been a huge fan of the Food Truck Festival. I actually went to Austin, Texas. It was probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago now or so. And they had a park just dedicated to food trucks. And we had nothing like that in Evansville at the time. And I was like, man, this would be so cool if something like this ever existed back home. And then whenever I saw the advertisements come out for the very first one, I was like, I want to be first in line to make sure that I get to go check this out.
That's funny. Just bringing up the past like that. 5 years ago, actually it was 6 years ago, because we were shut down technically in 2017. But we were so underprepared for that. It was like we didn't, I did events for years, but not always like that on that large scale level.
Right.
Like a 300, 400 person ticket event, but 4,000 people. You know,
it's a different game altogether.
I think it went pretty good overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
Except the people that came later, they were the ones that had to wait in line. And, you know, again, we're trying to figure out how we can improve our techniques at the gate so we can get people in sooner. And I think we did pretty good with the Food Truck Fest. We got people in. We had several different lines, and we had, you know, really just a good layout. But yeah, those are the biggest challenges.
Yeah.
Hey, we want to make these events great, but we also want to create a great experience. And some of that includes, you know, less wait times, things like that. But you know, we can fix those things. You know, keep coming to our events. We're going to get better. And we're going to support business. We're going to support local charity. I mean, we do all of it. And so we're really fortunate. Yeah.
And another thing I would say, I think a lot of people overlook is the fact that you bring in so many local artists. Like, you have great live music at these events as well. You know, people hear Food Truck Festival and they think food. Nobody thinks about, we have these awesome opportunities for musicians to come and showcase their talent as well.
Absolutely. And we get beat up at the door at times. You know, they're like, well, why do we have to pay to get in, or pay to get in to pay to eat food? And, you know, we do offer tickets that include food and sometimes beverage. But, you know, certainly, you know, paying for the entertainment and for the layout, the infrastructure, we're always trying to increase our value. So that way people want to come back. I mean, we're not fly by nights,
right?
You know, we want people to enjoy the experience. We want people to give us their feedback. Let us know when you're having an issue, or, you know, what you think we can improve on. Volunteer, send a job application. We need help, you know, so we get it. And, you know, we're here for a reason. We're not, you know, just a business. We feel like we're part of the community, and so we want to keep that. And so, you know, we appreciate your loyalty. I didn't realize you were at the first one.
Oh yeah.
And that was I had a great time. I actually flipped my 4Runner the next day. I don't know if you knew about that.
Yeah, I remember that.
But that's how amateur things were. I almost died.
Hey, you know what? From the outside looking in, nobody would have ever known, because even with that being the first event, you know, there were some hurdles at the gate where some people had some trouble getting in, but honestly, everything else ran so smoothly, so awesome.
It's hard to know. The first one, you know, doing a large festival. I mean, obviously we have the fall festival, and kudos to those guys. 100 years, you know, huge deal here. But, you know, we're just one day event, you know, coming out, trying to set up. Eastland Mall was gracious enough to let us use their property, and I think that was a home run.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, just from an exposure standpoint. But when we hit that thing on the social media, Facebook, I mean, it just went viral.
Yeah,
it went from, and I looked at our ad budget from 2017, and I compared it to this year, and it's literally times 1,000.
Oh my God.
Seriously. So it was like the community supported. They were so hungry for something, and so that Food Truck Fest really put us on the map, and it brought, you know, food trucks from Bloomington, from Terre Haute, from Indianapolis, from, you know, parts of Illinois, and those guys followed us for years, and some of them are still there.
And it introduced me to foods that I never thought that I would find interesting, like gourmet grilled cheese sandwiches. Like, you hear
All
grilled
kinds
cheese,
of
I'm like,
stuff.
okay, cool, whatever, and then had it, and I was like, oh my God, this is some of the most amazing food I've ever tried.
You got to think about all the, you know, forget about the food truck business. You know, yes, there's a business, but think about the individuals. You know, those individuals, they're from all walks of life. I mean, you're getting them from, you know, Chicago to New York City to, you know, these people they've moved here, or they're in the area, they're in the region. And so they're coming up with their creative menus. They're probably stealing some ideas from LA and, you know, some progressive towns. But certainly there's a lot of variety when it comes to food trucks. And we're really, I think, really, you know, doing this event in 2017 sort of put the map, like put Evansville on the map for food trucks. I mean, do you remember the article that came out in 2019, I believe, that said Evansville was the #1 regional city for real estate from Realtor.com, which is like a national report. They had 10 other cities or 9 other cities. And so that was significant that they mentioned the Food Truck Fest.
Absolutely.
They said buzzy events like the Food Truck Fest are bringing people to this town. So
yeah, I actually utilize that in some of the promotion and stuff that I've done for different things, because I'm like, this is the kind of stuff. Because, you know, in my business, part of what I have to do is not just sell the home, but sell the community. Because we have people who are relocating here from out of state at times and everything. And a lot of people, unfortunately, when they hear Evansville, thanks to Jay Leno, think, oh, you mean the most obese city in America.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm like, I mean, guys, it's so much more than that.
Hey, Hey, I always say this. I mean, there's some truth behind that, right?
There is.
New York City loves to, or New York City, or Philadelphia is a city that, the city of brotherly love. I lived in Philadelphia. I used to party in New York City. New York City is a city that never sleeps, right? Never sleeps. And Evansville is the city that loves to eat.
100%. And here's the thing. Our food scene has gotten so much better over the years and everything else. And so I love being able to tell people about the local restaurants we have. You know, I've had Randy Hobson in here. And then one of the things I always bring up is like, guys, you have to be aware of Evansville events on Facebook to pay attention to the Food Truck Fest. Not only the Food Truck Fest, we've got Taco Fest. We've had Barbecue Fest and all these other great things. And I'm just like, people, pay attention. You're going to love being around.
And let me say this too. Right now, we're sort of in a rebranding phase where, you know, we've had a website that was very robust and we had, you know, users, probably 1,000 users over the years that would post events. And so we're looking at ways that we can get back to that. Obviously, we're still sort of like dwindling out of the whole pandemic.
Right.
So, you know, once that, because that created really a headache for event calendars because, you know, who's actually doing the event? Mm-hmm. Is it going to be virtual? Is it online? You know, all these things. And so we just pulled back from that and started focusing sort of on where we're headed. You know, what are we going to do? And so that kind of leads me into sort of a new concept, a new event idea that we're
breaking news here, folks.
Yeah, so it's all very premature, and so I don't want to go too far into the details, but we are talking to some key people, and I believe that this event will happen, and it will happen around the fall time, and it will be sort of themed around what our community is most known for, and that's our German heritage.
Oh, okay. Now I'm very intrigued because I love German food. I'm hoping German beer.
Yes. And what's around the fall time? Can you maybe take
fall time? I'm taking a crack here. Are we going Oktoberfest?
Yes,
dude.
Yes.
I think that is awesome.
Yeah. So.
I just watched Beer Fest for the first time in like, I don't know, a decade recently. I had a flight to Colorado. I had nothing else to do. And I'm like, I'm going to download Beer Fest and watch it on the plane. I love all of the stuff that goes around the Oktoberfest scenes and all that stuff. They got the food, they got the beer, they got the giant steins. Are you telling me we're going to be able to expect something like that?
Yeah. So this, and again, this is all kind of off the cuff. So don't hold us to it. This is where we're headed. We're hoping that everybody wants to work with us, number one. Number two, that we have enough legs and enough insight that shows us that, hey, this is a great idea. The reason we're doing this idea, the Taco Fest is a great example of what kind of the model of what this event could be. You know, it's a Oktoberfest. It's for everyone. It's not just German, but it's the Germans are known for their beers, their Oktoberfest. You know, they're there's some theme there, and that's all. You know, we want to bring some light to that. You know, celebrate our community,
cultural heritage, things of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of heritage behind Evansville, Hobstadt, you know, there's, so we're, you know, we just want to touch on that and maybe bring some more attention and also be supportive on similar events like Volksfest, which is coming up in August, I believe.
Yeah.
And so we're waiting to speak to those guys and, you know, just sort of getting the ball rolling. But we think overall it would be a great idea, you know, something different, you know, that we haven't really experienced, and on a very large scale. You know, we're looking, you know, maybe in the numbers of 3,000 to 5,000 people.
Awesome.
So.
Now, you know, I've been to Taco Fest before. I've been to the Wings Fest and all that stuff. And you mentioned a word that sparked something in my mind, legs. You have contests at a lot of these different things. You had a hot dog eating contest at the Food Truck Fest. You've had a hot wing eating contest, which I've suffered through myself before. Are we going to have a boot contest?
We might have a see who can finish the boot. Now, Indiana's a little more stricter than the German traditional laws.
Yes, that's
but
fair.
I think that we might be able to pull some strings and maybe work something out where, you know, we have a chug, a beer chug.
You know what? I have been reluctant to sign up for some contests in the past, but that sounds like something I could get behind pretty quick.
I might actually have to get involved in this one.
Joe's like, I'm not judging this one. I want in this. I want to be on the line doing this. So, man, that is an awesome idea. I am super excited about that. We will definitely have to keep up with you and stay on top of that to make sure that we're getting information on that as it kind of develops and grows.
Yeah, and there was actually one other thing too that I wanted to touch on is, if there's a nonprofit or charity out there that is looking to get some exposure, put their events out there. You can find Evansville Events Group on Facebook.
Yeah.
You can share it on there. We have over 6,000 followers. And then also, we'll be working with the charities, nonprofits to add events to our calendar on our website at evansvilleevents.com. So those are things that we're trying to transition into. But I think you'll see that here in the next couple weeks or so.
Awesome.
I just wanted to take a little bit of time off. We went pretty hard the first 6 months. And so,
yeah, you guys definitely, you put in the work, and I'll tell you, Bossy Field, beautiful location, historic building, a lot of, history there. It was a hot day. And you guys are hustling, and I gotta tell you, at one point I was like, I want to find Joe so I can say thanks for the invite.
We did have that beer.
That's right.
Beer over.
You got one beer over there.
At least we got that in. But yeah, no, I mean these are even some of the staff. They're working very hard. One gentleman had 20 miles in steps.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, for that day. So I mean, he's not dealing with as much as I'm dealing with.
Right.
I haven't even looked at my numbers, but usually it's like a marathon for me. Even in regards to steps. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but I love it. I don't even count the hours. It's you show up to a job, you're like, man, I can't wait to get out of here, right? I show up to this job and I'm like, man, I love what I do, and I'm just so grateful.
That's one thing that I've been very fortunate about in myself as well. This is my job right here.
Yeah,
I'm all about doing anything I can. People think about a real estate agent and they think, oh, all he does is open doors and let people in and out of houses, blah 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 blah. But I'm so passionate about connecting people with the community in which they live, and I think that's an art form that's been lost, unfortunately, by a lot of people. And so my ability to kind of connect with the community and things that you're doing and bringing that awareness to the masses and let people know what's going on. I'm like you. I get to wake up every day and do what I love. So I'm never checking the clock wondering when I get to go. So
hey, thank you so much too. I mean, you've been standout supportive. I know the first year I didn't see it, but the year that we had our record year. Yeah. You got that on video, and so that we appreciate that, and you did the right thing. You approached us, hey, do you mind? Absolutely, come in. We'll love to share that content, and I think we did. And so yeah, we kudos to you for what you're doing in the community, and
I appreciate
for your
that.
real estate, your success, and I follow what you're doing, and it's exciting. I wish we were on a different pay scale. You could take my pay. I'll take yours.
Hey, some days you may not like that. So, and that's one thing that I'll say is that's definitely something. I'm always watching the events you have coming up, and I'm always trying to make sure that I have nothing else going on around it, because I do love to attend the events and help with the awareness and do everything else. And so every time I've got an opportunity to try to get in there, unfortunately my videographer was sick this year, so I didn't get any game day events.
Maybe Oktoberfest,
we can make sure and document. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Sounds
good.
Is there anything else? I know we've talked a little bit about all the events you do and the wonderful things you do to help give back to nonprofits and everything. Is there anything that people often overlook that they don't take into consideration while they're checking out your organization? Yeah,
so we're usually like the dirty dogs of the industry because we're a for-profit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do. If you really look at the way that our operation runs and the way that a nonprofit operation runs, it's very similar.
Yeah.
We raise money for causes and we give them directly, and then we have salaries. People, I have to pay myself. I have a family. And so, those things, certainly are overlooked, when it comes down to, people paying at the gate. Mm-hmm. And I get it. There's events out there that are great events that are free. And I wish we could do that. I really do. And unfortunately, we don't have that support that they would have, from a county, state, or federal level, as well as, the sponsorship dollars that, sometimes kick in. And so it becomes a political thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm not the most political guy, unfortunately. So, which is good. I try to be honest and I try to be transparent, and, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, and, I think people know probably half of my mistakes, but, it's, I don't give up. And so, I'm grateful. I get to be in my home place, my birthplace, St. Mary's Hospital, 1981. Back to my roots. We've been doing this for 11 years. It's not like it was yesterday. It's been, we've been plugging away at this, and this has been my wake up, my go to sleep. And so just, I'm full of passion, and I want to work with everybody.
Yep.
I don't, I try to be as inclusive as I can, and I know we're in a really tough time right now with society and the way things are going, especially with the pandemic.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of division. We have more reasons to divide than come together, and the reason that we did this and started this was to bring people together. So we're going to keep doing that, and so we hope that we can all kind of get through our differences and come back together, even if it's quarterly. I think that's important from a community standpoint, that we can just look past all the problems and difficulties and decisions, right or wrong, and just focus on, moving forward.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. For a guy like me who's always helping people connect to the community, it's great to have an organization like yours that I know I can go to and say, hey, if you want to see what Evansville is really about, you come out to these events, you get to meet the people, you get to see what a wonderful place it is to live here, and get to see some iconic places that
Absolutely.
Often go underlooked or overlooked. Excuse me. So, Joe, man, I really appreciate you coming in today so much. I am looking forward to any event you have, and especially if we can make this happen, the Oktoberfest Boot Chug Challenge. Let's go.
Let's do it. I love it.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Hey, this is Aaron Luttrull. Thank you so much for checking out the Aaron Advantage podcast. If you would like to be a guest, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. We're always looking for other people to interview.